Kibera in Nairobi, Kenya, is the biggest informal settlement on the African continent. Ivan Musa is one of its hundreds of thousands of residents. He is cooking pap or porridge. For many in this area, it's the only meal they can afford.
We are facing problem to lack my customers, and maize flour is very expensive. We need the government to reduce some taxes like maize flour, salad. They reduce some taxes about houses. Their expenses is due sana.
Lending a helping hand. For people here in Kibera, life is tough. Many told us that they would like to see a situation where government will provide houses for them. Not far from him, another resident is selling vegetables. She too tells her story.
Taxes are high and business is very low. There is no money. You can work the whole day and not get a customer. Before, there were customers who would buy and we would be able to sustain ourselves. The government should bring our taxes down so that we can sustain ourselves. Our standard of living has dropped because things are expensive.
People living in such informal settlements don't have access to water or sanitation. Another big challenge is transport.
Life here in Kibera is very difficult because if you can see everybody is walking, some are even talking when walking because nobody has anything in their pocket. Everybody is suffering. Actually, even those who are making chapati over there, nowadays they are complaining because, for example, they used to cook for about 5 bags of 2 kg per day. Nowadays it's 2. Why? Because the common man has no money.
A few kilometers away, the UN Habitat Assembly is currently underway. Delegates are grappling with the challenges facing these communities. It is estimated that more than 90 million people live in informal settlements on the continent. There are fears that countries will not meet the target in relation to Sustainable Development Goal to support and lift these residents out of poverty.
There is no title in Kibera. If you bring this informal sector, the title who are here, the land which is in Kibera, is not equilibrium to the person supposed to be build houses. If they start these building houses, first of all, look the title.
Amnesty International says, while the United Nations Habitat is working hard to assist countries to meet the target, a lot still needs to be done.
There is no corresponding allocation of resources to match this kind of commitment. And so they all appear to be just statements. And what we want is that for these statements to be characterized by some degree of financial commitment, both through international cooperation, from the international community, as well as from our government here. The challenge that we have now in the post-COVID dispensation is a runaway debt, in which countries are taking up all resources to pay debts.
The impact of COVID-19 and now the war in Ukraine have affected the global economy. This has led to a higher cost of living.
We have multiple crises happening at the same time. So on one hand, we have the war in Ukraine, we have climate change, and we have COVID-19, disrupting food supplies and restraining government resources at the same time. So we recognize that governments are under pressure. But we also believe there are enough resources in the global community to deal with this problem. So we are not only asking African and sub-Saharan African governments to invest more resources in social services and social protection. We are also saying that as a matter of international human rights law, the international community and donors and countries with capacity have a legal obligation to help poor countries deal with this situation.
As we leave Kibera, more people want to share their stories.
We can't afford big houses because rent is expensive. Food is also expensive, so our mud houses are the only ones we can afford. If we had money, we would live a better life, but we can't afford anything. I hear our president says there will be cheaper government houses. If I could get it, I would be happy.
So, Fimukwena, SABC News, Kibera, Nairobi, Kenya.